Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate your time in attending our webinar, Building Relationships and Closing Sales. Alan Jacobson and I are hosting today, and we are super excited that you took the time out of your busy day to join us, and we hope you get a lot of value. I'm going to be speaking first about relationship marketing and email marketing, and then Alan is going to talk about sales, the sales process. So Alan has been in sales a long time. I can let him tell you more if you want to learn more about him. And I've been in marketing for about 8 years, and we were excited to partner together to offer this webinar. And I am going to share a slideshow. So hopefully everybody will see that. So give me a second. I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully everybody can see that. Can you give me a thumbs up? You can see my screen. Okay, thanks. Great. Okay, I'm a technology person, so I know Alan doesn't have slides, but I do, and feel free to take screenshots if you want to. So as a business, so here we go. So as a business owner, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with all the marketing tools that we have out there to market our business. And businesses are looking for ways to connect and build relationships with their prospects and customers, and obviously get more referrals, get more business, stay top of mind. So while social media is a great way to communicate with your audience, the organic reach is very low. So I recommend and use email marketing because it provides a professional and direct way that allows businesses to reach their prospects and customers. So first, I want to talk briefly about relationship marketing. I have a definition. It's building long-term relationships with customers and prospects rather than focusing on a one-time sale. You can stay top of mind with consistent communication, and email marketing is one of the tools to do that with. Building relationships, you want to increase your awareness. And oops, let's see, can you see this? I don't know if you can see this quote here that I found. Whoops. It doesn't matter how much someone knows, likes, and trusts you if they don't remember you when they're ready to make a buying decision. So I found that somewhere, and I thought it was very relevant because building relationships and staying in touch with people is so important, so they know they remember you when they're ready to buy from you or refer you to somebody else. So interesting sales statistics, 48% of people never follow up with a prospect, and only 10% of people make more than 3 contacts. So, but 95% of sales are made on the 3rd to 12th contact. So why aren't we following up enough? It takes all those touches to stay top of mind, and to, all those follow-ups are really important. So some other statistics, actually, this was an interesting one to me. The #1 reason a customer doesn't come back, it's not because they didn't want to use your services, it's because they forgot about you. So for each month that you don't communicate with your customers, you lose 10% of your influence. And it costs 5 times more to create a new customer than retain an old one. So like I meant, if you don't mind muting yourself, that would be great. We are happy to answer questions, but if you can hold them to the end, that would be the best. And if you don't mind muting, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So email marketing, is an essential aspect of any digital marketing strategy. It's one of the most important communication tools for businesses, and it's a way to build and attract a community of ideal clients. It delivers traffic, leads, and customers. And the benefits of it are it's convenient. People check their email multiple times a day. I mean, I don't know about you, but as soon as I get up in the morning, the phone is the first thing I look at. I check my email to see what's going on. And I do that more often than I should. It's a way to deliver personalized and relevant information to your market. It can be automated, so you can set up some autoresponders to automate the follow-up. It gives you the ability to track results, so you can see who opened and clicked on your links and emails. And as Krista mentioned, she found out about this because I've been emailing her. She's been on my list for a while, and here she is. And you own the list. So unlike social media, where if they shut Facebook or LinkedIn down, you're out of luck unless you've got your list of contacts somewhere. With an email marketing list, you own that, and you can do whatever you want with it, and they can't take that away from you. So some statistics on the power of email marketing is that companies use email to nurture leads, get 50% more sales ready leads at 33% lower cost. The email conversion rate are 3 times higher than social media and a 17% higher value in the conversion. For every dollar you spend on email marketing, you actually get an ROI of $44.25. That's phenomenal. And email marketing yields a 4,300% return on investment. That you can't beat that, right? These are all statistics from a number of different agencies. And so that's all I'm going to say right now. And so now I'm going to hand it over to Alan so that he's going to share his, I'm going to stop the screen share actually, and he's going to share his information about sales, the sales process. So take it away, Alan.
Wow. Short but sweet. Shakespeare said, brevity is the soul of wit. So that was really great. And there were some really interesting statistics there. I wasn't even aware of some of those statistics. That's really great. And email marketing and relationship marketing is just part of the business one has to do as a salesperson. You know, first of all, I have to say this. Sales, for some reason, has become a dirty word, you know, nowadays, because we're kind of like back in the 60s or the 80s, where we're very enlightened. And I don't know how many of you have come across a lot of life coaching out there. Everybody's gravitating to that, and they're using certain jargon. And there are many people out there who believe that, you know, if I have gratitude and I'm happy and I put my mindset right, that I'm going to attract the clients and I'm going to do business. Well, part of that is right. The part of that is right is that having a good mindset is very important, but it's only a part of the equation. You have to have a proper mindset, and then you have to have the tools and skills to be able to work with clients and to be able to close your deals. And it's a whole process that you have to go through. And I will say this from personal experience, and I'll tell you a little bit about my experience. I started out as a salesman in the clothing business back in 1975. And I started out 20 years old as a salesman. By the time I was 24, I was a sales manager, inside sales manager. And then I established a road force of 40 people around the country. And I'm now at 24 years old, managing 45 people in a very tough business. And I've been in different businesses. I've had my own theater. I've been a realtor for a number of years. So I have seen every aspect of how you sell, what you need to do to sell, as well as managing salespeople. I've also done a lot of mindset work. When you come across a lot of mindset people right now, there are some really good ones, and then there are people who read a book or take a course, and they're a mindset coach. I started doing mindset work in 1985, and I started with affirmations, and then I graduated 1980. Excuse me, I was 25 years old during the AIDS era. So what I've done is I've been able to incorporate a lot of life experiences, including my experiences as a full-time athlete, which Steve knows really well, the kind of focus and dedication you have to have. And these kinds of life experiences that I've had, that other people may have, help shape you to become who you are, and you learn and you grow, and we're always growing. So sales is a business, and a lot of people don't realize, whether they're an entrepreneur or whether they work for a company, that you have to run your sales business like a business. It's not just, oh, I'm a salesman and I'm going to sell my product or service. You have to sell it, and you have to run it like a business. So when I work with people, and I'm not going to be able to cover everything that I do working with people. I do one-on-one coaching, and I work with small businesses. So I'm going to kind of be glancing over a lot of things, just kind of putting some thoughts into your heads. But some of the things that I work with them on are emotional goals, because I find that an emotional goal is a lot stronger than a money goal. For instance, for me, one of my goals is I want to be able to get to the point where maybe my wife doesn't have to work, or maybe we can travel more because we're actually looking at things like that. Time management is crucial because when you're an entrepreneur, you have to be able to have a schedule, which I like to put people into a daily schedule so that they know what they're doing at every time of the day, and they're able to then shift their mindset from one activity to another. And what are the most important activities? The income producing activities. And what I find with a lot of people is they're not really spending enough time on the income producing activities. There are also standards that I set for my business and I set with people that I work with. So for instance, one of my business standards is that in the mornings, that is my time for proactive prospecting. So if someone tries to set a meeting with me early in the morning, I say, gee, I'm really sorry, but I'm booked. Can we do it at 2:00? I fit them into my schedule, not the other way around. And once you set your standards and control your time, you control your business, and you'll be surprised how your business will grow. Now, one of the buzz phrases now that people talk about is you have to create a relationship before you can actually sell. That's not exactly true. And in most businesses, it's not true. Most businesses, you don't have time to create a relationship. Now, what you can create is you can create trust and respect. To me, those are probably the two most important things to start out with when you're working with someone, because if you can gain their trust and respect, you're going to get their business. You also have to have the information to know what your product or service is about, so you can answer all the questions that they might have. So for instance, if I go on an appointment as a realtor, because I'm also a realtor, when I go on an appointment, there are 50 other agents out there that are trying to get their business. So I have 20 minutes to 30 minutes to get their trust, to get them to believe that I am the right person for them, and that I'm going to close the deal. I don't have any more time. I don't have time to build a relationship. Now, that being said, I can build a relationship as time goes on. And I do work on that because it's very important to get referral business and also keep that past customer, once the deal is done, as possibly another future customer. That happens all the time. If you're not going after past customers, you're losing so much business. And I think, Kim mentioned that as well. Some businesses do require a time to build relationships. Maybe something like what Brad does in the financial services industry. That might take a little more time to gain the trust and build some kind of relationship, because people are dealing with their money. And if they're dealing with a lot of money, it takes a little more work. But there are a lot of businesses: a car salesman, a realtor, a plumber. You don't have time for that. So different types of industries and different types of sales require different approaches. I also have found that what has worked for me through the years is I don't go for the kill. And when I say I don't go for the kill, I don't try to extract as much business as I possibly can right away. I try to gain their trust, and I try to get some business. Now, if they want to give me a lot, I'm not going to necessarily turn it down, but I actually have done that at times. I'll say, let's start and let's build the business together, because if they're doing well with the product or service, they're going to want more. So I'd rather build it a little slowly, gain their trust, and the more they trust me and realize I'm not just going in for the kill, they're going to regard me better, and they're going to make better referrals. Again, it's very important to stay in touch and to use is not quite the right word, but have these people as your referral sources, because there's nothing better than building a referral business. Okay, so those are some of the things about the business of what you need to do. Now, the steps in your sales, for me, there are basically 8 steps. The first step is marketing, because you have to market your business somehow. And there are multiple ways to market your business. There's social media, there's, as Kim does, relationship and email marketing. And there's also something that I'm finding nowadays is really lacking. Now, maybe part of it is because of COVID. I don't know, and because people have been working out of home. But I know for myself and the people that I coach, that you've got to be proactive. There are lots of businesses where, guess what? You pick up the phone and you prospect and you talk to people. And speaking of talking to people, instead of standing in line at Starbucks and just looking at your phone and doing this and this and this, how about engaging in a conversation with somebody and say, hey, I'm a realtor, or I'm in financial services, or I'm an accountant. You never know who that customer that you're standing next to is going to be. Very important. So there are a number of ways to market. And then the next thing is the prospecting. And again, there's what I call passive prospecting, and then proactive prospecting. The passive prospecting is waiting for the client attraction from the social media. A lot of people nowadays, they're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook all day, and they're just waiting for people to come to them. But then there's the proactive prospecting, which means phone calls, or once we're able to, again, go out to businesses and actually go and meet people. I have found for myself and a number of the people that I've worked with, they get more business that way than just sitting around and waiting. Now we come to qualifying and the needs assessment of the client. That's very important. We need to know that they're the right client, and we need to know that we can deliver the product or service to them. Presentation is crucial. And within the presentation, sometimes you don't have a lot of time. And what's so important are your communication skills. And that involves languaging, that involves listening, actively listening. It's so important to actively listen to the client and know what their needs are, and know how you can help them. And you want to ask a lot of questions. The person who asks questions is the person who really controls the encounter and will end up getting more business. Because when you ask the questions, you just put yourself in a position of power. And you're learning more. So the more you learn about them, the more, when they start raising objections, you know how to respond to those objections. Which brings me to objections. Again, it's understanding the needs of the client and knowing how to language things. Believe it or not, there can be a lot of scripting involved in objections. If you really know your product or service and you are doing it enough, doing enough presentations, you should pretty much know in advance most of the questions that people are going to ask, most of the objections they're going to raise. So your comeback should be something that's ingrained in you. It's almost like muscle memory. But it's how you deliver it. You don't want to deliver it in a canned way. You want to deliver it in a way where you're engendering that trust in them. And that one of the most important things that comes across in your behavior is that you just want to help them. That's what people want. People want someone that's going to help them. I'm working with a real estate client right now, selling a $1 million home, and she's buying a home in an active adult community. She's recently widowed. She's never bought a home on her own, always with a man, and never a used home. Well, she's so nervous about things. Now we're at the inspection report time, and the hand holding that I have to do to make her feel comfortable, the mindset work that I have to do with her. The other day, she had a leak in her own home, a couple of leaks, nothing major, it's all taken care of. She was freaking out. And I basically said to her, listen, Sherry, you can't stress over these things. Shit happens. That's what I said to her. Shit happens. I said, so if you go in with the attitude that things are going to happen, that's life. When it does happen, you're going to be able to handle it a lot easier. Well, the next day, there was another leak. And when she told me what happened, I had never heard her so calm. And then I said to her, Sherry, this is really great. You're so calm. And she said, yeah, shit happens. It was really great. Okay, now you've overcome all these objections, okay, which you may end up with objections to closing table too. Now, what about negotiation? Very important to know how to negotiate. And the whole trick in negotiating is to be able to make the other side feel like a victor, even though you know that you're the victor, or you're both a victor, that it's a win-win situation. Now we got to get to the closing table. And again, I don't care what the industry is. It's pretty much the same process for everything. How do we close the deal? Again, we ask questions. I mean, there's so much. I can't go into all of it. I don't want to spend too much time now. I want to kind of just give an overview. The last thing after closing the deal is follow-up. Follow-up is so important. You want to make sure, number one, that your clients felt taken care of, that they were happy with your services. And then every so often, you stay in touch with them, whether it's a Thanksgiving card, a little note, or Christmas or Hanukkah, or a holiday or a birthday. Stay in touch with these people and call them. The power of the telephone is so important. People are not used to it these days. People are used to text messaging and emails and other kinds of messaging. But the person who's able to pick up the phone and say, hey, John, how are you? And just talk to them, believe me, they'll remember you. So basically, a lot of the areas that I cover are the steps in the sales process, marketing for client attraction, the business of the business, communication skills. I work with people on communication skills. And as a former trained professional actor, well, actors were observers of human behavior, and we learned to be really good active listeners. So I actually also work with people on their video presentations, because I see a lot of video on Zoom and on LinkedIn, and a lot of it's pretty bad, because either you have people like these strong used car salesmen coming at you like this, or somebody's got a really important topic to cover and they're just like so boring the way they speak. So how can we make our presentation more compelling and interesting and really attract the clients? That's part of marketing as well. And it's really important. I've got some great stories, but I won't tell them now. Again, for both Kim and myself, if anybody is interested, Kim will put it up on the screen. Somebody wants to do a discovery call with either of us, we welcome that. I work with people one-on-one. I also work with small businesses. I have no desire to work with the large businesses. But we thank you for coming, and now we're going to open it up for some question and answer. Do you know how to unmute everybody, Kim?
Alan,
Yes,
I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm one of those people who likes to pick up the phone and talk to people. And it seems like, I don't know if it's the whole COVID pandemic thing with a lot of hackers out there and people who are not genuine, but I'll really just call to say hello and check. And I feel maybe it's me putting out that energy that they think when's the other shoe going to drop? Like Drew really just calling me to say hi, or I know he sent me this service agreement and he's, so I don't know if you have to have that. Obviously, you said you have to have that trust first, but I mean, I'll do it. And some people it's genuine. I hang up the phone and I stick to just saying hello. I think that helps me win a little down the road. But I don't know. Do you sense that some people just don't think that you're just not calling, doesn't make, just to say hi?
Well, you haven't given me enough information to properly answer that.
True.
Number one, what you do, and number one, what you're calling about. So maybe you could answer that first.
Yeah, I own a franchise where the Schooley Mitchell's the independent cost reduction consultants. So
Okay.
we reduce operating expenses
Okay.
and we get paid on contingency. And
Okay.
to get the ball rolling, it's a terms of service is a 36-month consulting agreement, but we don't get paid unless we save you money. So, but to get people to realize it's not too good to be true. It's actually is what it is. But sometimes you have to follow up. People are afraid it's about their money too, so.
Well, you're always going to have that, first of all.
Yeah.
Secondly, doesn't sound like contingency to me. It sounds to me like it's actually you're getting a commission, in a sense, off the services that you're providing.
Well, if we don't save our client money, we don't get paid.
Exactly, but that's not really contingency. I don't really look at it that way. Contingency would, I think of it in other ways, but you're basically getting from the service provider, you're getting money, correct?
We provide the service and we
Right.
share in the savings. 50. What
Okay.
we find is we
Right.
share in the savings.
Right. You're getting a cost reduction and you're passing it on, but you're getting a piece of it.
Right.
It's kind of like an interior designer that goes into furniture stores and will buy the furniture at a substantial discount, and then they'll take their 15% or what have you. It's very similar to that. Yeah. So when you call them up, what is it that you're calling them up for? And what?
I've already would already have had the briefing with them,
Okay.
explained our services, established the need. They show interest. They say, what do we need to do to get it started? And then I'll go over the terms of service with them. I'll send it to them. I'll give them time to think about it. And I'm going to want to follow up. And then it's a matter of, do you do it a week? You got to know your prospect. You don't want to follow up too often or not enough, but if you haven't heard about them wanting to sign on, I still sometimes want to call just to say, how are you? Hope everything's doing okay. Now, in the back of my mind, of course, I'm going to want them to say, oh yeah, that's right, the service agreement, let me sign it. But there are times when I intend just to see if everything's okay, because you never know why people might not get back to you. And
so Drew, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Are you trying to get business from them or be their friend?
No, business. It would be to have them become a client.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I would be curious to know what your presentation is like. And do you know what an assumptive close is?
I can assume, but you tell me.
Okay. Anybody here know what an assumptive close is? Okay. So what an assumptive close is when you're basically planting in the minds. You have to go into a potential sale with the mindset that you have the sale.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you go in with the mindset that you have the sale, your languaging has to reflect that. So, for instance, if I'm showing property, and again, I coach, but I also do real estate. There's good money in it. I'm not gonna give it up. I'll do a few. I don't do as much as I used to. I don't choose not to. Okay. But when I go into a home to try and sell the potential client on my services, I will walk around and I'll talk to them and say, okay, so when I'm showing this buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would you mind opening the blinds for me? Okay, so that when I'm showing them, we have more light in the room and we have more, the room looks bigger. Okay, I'm languaging things in a way as if I already have the business. Okay, that's when assumptive closes. And when you're sitting at the closing table and you're languaging thing, and now again, when you're asking a lot of questions, when I get to the door I ask so many questions before I even walk inside the house, because I'm putting myself in a position of strength. Something else that I do, a little trick that I do, is when I walk in and I meet them now, in the days when I would shake hands, I would literally lower my body a little bit and bring it to their level, because I'm pretty tall. I'm 6'1". Steve, I'm not as tall as I used to be. I used to be 6'1 1/4". Now I'm about 6'1.5". But I would kind of lower my body a little bit to get more to their level and not be as powerful to them, because it's kind of this mirroring thing.
Mhm.
But I'm asking a lot of questions at the door, already setting things up. And then I walk them through and I take control of the walkthrough. I don't let them say, oh, well, here's our dining room and here's our this or that. I take control. And I ask questions and I throw in these assumptive closes. And then when I get to the closing table, they've already heard a number of assumptive closes from me, to where they're already in a position to be hopefully ready to sign. And then when I get to a certain point, and then if we talk pricing, I keep quiet, and then I say, you ready to get started? But so much of it, as I said, is in the communication. I go over communication when I work with people a lot, but I would wager to say that you could probably strengthen your presentation, because for what you do, you should probably get more closes from your initial presentation.
No, I agree with you 100%. My struggle is that call to action at the end and really asking for the business. And I'm sure they sense trepidation for me to say, but I like how you said about, you're ready to get started. I mean, that is something that works, that might work. I have not.
Right,
Yeah.
but it'll only work if the entire presentation leading up to it puts you in that position. If your presentation is not strong, I mean, you're talking about something really that doesn't cost them a dime.
Doesn't cost them a dime, no risk at all.
Like
Right.
you're saving them money,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just getting paid for the service of saving them money. You should have a really high close rate for that.
There's a balance. I mean, I have a 34% close rate, but I got to get in front of the right people. So I don't know if it's a presentation thing or versus I need to get in front of the actual decision maker, and that's been part of it.
Do you go after only businesses, or do you go after individuals too?
No, we're all commercial. We do
Okay.
only commercial.
Yeah, but even with
cost
businesses,
savings, so
every business wants to save money.
they should, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I would
Yep.
wager to say that there are, different parts of what you're doing that could be strengthened.
I'm sure I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you asked about how many times should you follow up? Well, if you remember my slide, it was, the 5th to 12th contact is when you might close the sale, So
Yeah.
I would continue to follow up with them,
So
until they tell you yes, or until they tell you
yeah.
stop following up.
I think it's the spacing in between following up. I mean, sometimes I follow up too much. Even for some people, they say once a week is too much. Let me, give me. So I don't know if that's.
Are you calling them?
I can
Are you
tell you that-
emailing them? Or how are you following
It's a
up?
combination of that, either calling or emailing. Yeah.
Okay,
Usually, I ask them, how do you like to be communicated with?
right.
Do you prefer, phone call or email? But
I mean, I use a tool that's a custom, it's a way to create personalized greeting cards and gifts in the mail. The company sends it all for you. So that's also another follow-up, another touch point, and mail gets, a 90 to 100% open rate. So it
Yep.
is a way to stand out from the competition. I'm happy
yeah,
to share more.
mailbox power is what I've
Mailbox
learned
power,
about.
that's
So,
what I use.
I'm
Right.
gonna start using that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you already have an account.
Well, I actually, basically.
Okay.
I do.
All right, cool. That's awesome.
Well, I could tell you that in real estate, I can't say this is true for every business.
Mhm.
I've had people that I've called for over a year. And I would start out calling them every 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
And may not get them on the phone,
sure.
but I'll leave a message every single time. Every single time. And then it got to the point where maybe I'd call them, once a week or whatever,
Okay.
once every
Yeah.
2 weeks. I mean, there would be a law of diminishing return.
Sure.
But I would call and call and call and call. When I was in the clothing business years ago, I used to call people until they got so annoyed that they had to give me an appointment. Just to get into the showroom. Because the first step of any business, any sale, is getting people to see your product or to learn
Absolutely.
about your service.
Mhm.
If you don't get there, you're nowhere.
True.
You know, and I used to have it because when I started out, I was in a very difficult building in the clothing business. A lot of buyers didn't go there. They like to stay in the same buildings, but I would just pound away and I'd call and call and call and finally said, okay, I'll give you an appointment, you know, and I had a very high rate of getting the sale.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'll tell you guys one funny story since I'm saying it. So there was a store up in Rochester, New York called B. Foreman's. And I was working for these guys before I went in, because I went into my own business just before I turned 28, and I built up 3 companies to $40 million. And anyway, so I'm working for these guys, and I had this buyer from the store, and she came into my showroom. She was the last appointment of the day in what we called Market Week. Market Week was when the buyers would come into the showroom from all over the country, usually once a month. So she comes in, and I really wanted her to leave me an order in the showroom. Now, we used to call that leaving paper. Paper was the terminology for the order. So what did I do? I went and I locked the front door. And she said to me, Alan, what are you doing? I said, I locked the door. You can't do that. I said, well, I just did. So Nancy, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go sit in the booth across from you. And once you leave me the order, you can go. That's not fair. I said, okay, you know, whatever. You know what she did?
Sign the order.
She left me an order. Yep. But I knew I could get away with it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
have to know what you can get away with, and you have to know what
Absolutely.
your boundaries and limitations are.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I knew it because I had somewhat of a relationship with her, you know, and I just knew it. But it's just one of those out of the box things that you have to do sometimes to get the order. Because I had, and every salesperson has to have, and I mean it in the best way,
Mhm.
killer instinct.
Right.
And what is killer instinct? It's that instinct, that ability to do whatever it takes to close the sale, no matter what, within legal bounds.
Mhm.
You know, but you know, our objective is to get the sale, plain and simple. It's not manipulative. Frankly, one could say that everything is manipulative. I mean,
Mhm.
people can say networking is manipulative
Mhm.
because people are meeting people because ultimately they all want to do business.
Right.
And you know, networking is more about building relationships and building referral network. But anybody that says they're going into networking just for the purpose of making friends, then I'd question if they have any other friends. And then I'd question, you know, if they really want to do business. So, you know, there's a certain degree of manipulation, but it's not bad manipulation. You're directing people in a way, you're providing information, and you do want to, you know, build trust in them.
Right.
So anybody else have any questions? Steve?
Krista,
Yes, Krista.
Yeah.
Krista.
you can
let me
unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just was getting to that key. I wanted to ask you about relationships, since that was originally the title of the webinar. I understand, of course, that we're focused on mainly building trust, and that's kind of the value of the relationships, but I actually want to know literally how we might be able to build relationships with the list, because that was kind of the appeal to me of that title.
Who are you asking that? Kim or me?
Probably Kim,
Okay. I mean,
because it sounds
yeah,
like you were fighting against the relationship idea.
right. I
Excuse
mean,
me, I need to correct you on that. I don't think I said I'm fighting against relationships at all. I actually said you can build relationships. But what I did say is there's this common thinking nowadays that you have to build relationships first. And having been in business for over 40 years and seen everything, and knowing many businesses and working with people in many different businesses, a lot of times you just don't have the time to build the relationship first.
Right.
you know? So you build trust, and you build faith and this belief that you're the right person or product or service for them to work with. And then the relationship can come. And then there are times where you might need to build a relationship, certain businesses. Like I mentioned earlier about financial services,
Right.
networking is all about relationships.
It is.
And as a matter of fact, I post daily tips. I've been doing it for a month on networking. And I talk about that all the time, about it's all about relationships. It's not about you. It's about helping others.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, and
So,
I would
yeah.
say the same thing for me, and, talking about relationship building, it's about showing an interest in the other person, providing value to them, asking how you can help them, or if they have a specific problem that your product or service can't solve, who can you introduce them to? So it's, just continuing to stay connected and ask them how you can be of service. That's what I feel building relationships is.
Yeah. So is there a way to actually use your list to do that? Because I know you were mentioning, you're talking about email
Sure,
marketing.
yeah. I use my email list to provide information. I'm not always selling, and it's just getting someone to start recognizing that you're a person who provides value, that you're an expert in your field, you're providing content that hopefully is of interest to who you're emailing. You want people to open your emails and start getting to know more about you and what value you provide. And then, hoping reaching out to you and participating in an event that you're doing. Like you said, you do webinars too, right? Or just, keeping that communication open. I mean, there's no magic bullet, right? It's just the continuous, consistent communication, staying top of mind with people so that they remember you, like I said before, when they're ready to, either
Right.
when they know someone that has what you offer, or they also need what you have to offer. So I think it's just, I'm not trying to be critical, but maybe you're like overthinking it. Just be who you are and, talk to people and stay in contact with them. It could be a quick Facebook message to someone. Just check. I don't know if you guys have seen, like, when you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, there's like a green dot when someone's online.
Yeah.
So I've been participating in something called the green dot game. So you can go on Facebook and like look for the people that have the green dot and just say, hi, how you doing? Just, checking in, how's your day going? How are you feeling? Hope things are going well. It's just a way to kind of very easily just say hi to somebody online.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? And on
Yeah,
LinkedIn,
thank
it's
you.
the same. You can see when someone is on within a certain time frame. The green dot might be totally filled in, or it might be like a kind of like a donut. You have to have that turned on your end in order to see that. I think it's called active status on LinkedIn. But that's also kind of like a green dot game you can play if you spend, a couple, maybe 15 minutes a week, just kind of getting on those platforms and just saying hi to people like that. It could, also be a way to build the relationship.
Thanks for reminding me that it can be simple sometimes to nurture a
Mhm.
relationship.
Right. I think don't overthink it. Just be who you are, be yourself. And if you saw someone in the coffee shop, what would you say? Hi, how you doing? What are you up to these days? And you can do that online too.
Kim, I'm going to start using videos in the email. There's either Loom or Hippo. I'm going to
Okay.
learn how to do that. So a quick little message.
Yes, that's a
talk
great
to
idea
email.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
you
gonna,
can both on Facebook and on LinkedIn from your phone, from the app. You can also do a voice message, which is nice to be able to do. I'm
Right.
trying to do that more myself.
yeah, I got to start getting more into that than just the regular email. and stuff
Right.
like
It
that.
definitely stands out in the sea of messages on your,
Yeah.
feed or whatever,
Yeah.
or the messenger platform. It
Mhm.
shows when someone, you're like, oh, someone left me a voice message. Oh,
I know.
cool. I
Yep.
gotta listen to that,
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Very
another
cool.
way to, yeah, that's a good idea. Mhm.
So that's what you're doing, voice messages?
Yeah, you can
You
do
can-
voice
yeah.
messages both on LinkedIn and on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know if, I know LinkedIn, you have to use the app to do it. Facebook, I think you might also have to use the app. I don't know if you can do it on your computer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We so appreciate your time today. I do want to, on the screen, I want to share, I did put the information in the chat for how to contact Alan and I. We are both offering a 30-minute complimentary consultation if you want to kind of explore other ways we can help you. And if I can share my screen again, let's see, and share the PowerPoint. I just have a little slide up here that shows our contact information. So if you would, I mean, I put it in the chat, but if you just want to like snap a picture or something. And I also, with Constant Contact, which is the email platform I use, I can offer a free trial. So that's the link for that. And if you can't snap it and you want me to send that to you, I can do that. If you're not already using an email marketing platform, I do recommend Constant Contact. It's very easy to use. It's very affordable. And I'd be happy to help you, get started.
You could also, connect with us on LinkedIn. If you go to my LinkedIn
Absolutely.
profile, you'll see the scope of what I've done throughout my life. And you'll see lots of really good testimonials for the work I do with people. Steve, did you have any questions? You looked like you wanted. You got to get off
Oh,
mute.
you have to unmute.
Hold on. He's still on.
Okay.
mute.
There
Okay.
you go.
I'm off now. So just to let you know, Jim and I are involved with a financial planning firm, primarily providing financial services for federal employees. And we're using email. We have about 400,000 email addresses, and we do regular blasts on that. But to me, that seems a little more impersonal. We're still getting about 60 leads a week off of that. In the past, both the days where you could actually see someone and, as Alan said, shake their hand, we would provide financial and retirement seminars in person. I'm assuming we're going to have to go more towards the Zoom aspect of that, but it seems like we had much better contact with that. We would provide them for free a 1 to 3 hour seminar about financial planning and things that are available mainly for federal employees that are about to retire. And
Right.
I'm curious about your views as the in-person. I still think the email blast is just very impersonal, and I prefer the seminar. So I'm focusing on expanding the business with seminars through federal unions, federal agencies. But there seems to be some value because we're getting a good return on just our, I think, impersonal email blasts. It really depends on the message that we have. What's the main line there to get their attention? I think that's probably the trick.
Well, first of all, I believe that it's a multi-pronged approach. There's no one approach
Right.
to work. So, emails are good. Social media posts are working for people for client attraction. Good old-fashioned phone calls, setting up meetings. I think we are moving back towards some in-person now, but Zoom conferences, are working as well. Obviously, my sister, and she does speaking.
Right.
And she's been doing some Zoom ones because people were not apt to do the in-person ones. But, I've done some Zoom ones and have done both in person, and I'm looking forward to when I can do in person as well. So I think that you want to explore all avenues. There's just, because if you're not exploring all avenues, you're losing potential customers. Plain and simple. Does that answer your
Thanks.
question?
No, that's good because it seems like we've used either one or the other. So using the mix will probably be helpful
Yeah.
to reach the most people. And then as for the networking, that's really where I come in because I have the connections as a former senior litigation counsel for federal agency. I was a senior policy advisor for agencies. I was in the general counsel's office. So I have individual contacts there. I was a chief of staff. I can reach out to other chiefs of staff and use that networking then to have the opportunity to either get those emails or to be able to do the seminars. So I like what you said, the networking is important. That will get you in the door. If you can establish a relationship, then you can provide a service, something for them. And that's kind of what our view was. We're providing information for federal employees, and eventually we'll reach out to vets. We're going to reach out to active duty military and expand the business like that.
Right.
But I'm supposed to be the rainmaker, so I have to figure out a way to make it rain.
That's great.
Well, Well, we'll be talking when you get back from Cocoa Beach, is it? You said you
Yeah,
went
we're just up the road from you right now.
to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
then I want to talk to you about another opportunity that you might be
Okay.
interested in.
Yeah, no, we'll do that. But yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, one of the things I like about the Zoom as opposed to in person is depending on the costs involved with in person, hotel rooms, travel expenses, this, that. You know, the great thing about Zoom, you know, if you have like a group that's, let's say, centered in, I don't know, the state of Georgia, I'll just throw that out as an example, and they're all over the place. But if you do a Zoom, nobody has to leave their home. They're just right there, and it's a great thing. It makes it easier. If you have 50 people, you know, it makes it easy.
Alan and I never would have met if it wasn't for Zoom.
Right.
We
Yeah,
met on
'cause
a networking
it's in New
event. He's in
Jersey.
Florida and I'm in New Jersey. So
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
thankfully I'm grateful every day for Zoom because all of this stuff wouldn't even be possible to meet people from all over and be able to network and not have to travel anywhere. I'm finding that piece wonderful. As much as I miss the in-person meetings, it is nice to be able to meet people from all over and then not have to travel. So
I think we're going to be moving toward a hybrid model.
I think so too, for sure.
You know, I already see it in some things in the event industry,
Right.
where they're moving to that hybrid. And I think some meetings will be in person where people feel comfortable, and some will be, you know, hybrid. Some will be purely Zoom. I don't think we're ready yet as a society to have one or the other.
No, I agree. Yeah.
You know, and I'm seeing that because, you know, I have friends in the event industry. My son's in, you know, my son Noah in Orlando, you know, he's involved with that, and yeah, it's going to be a little while, but it's good. But I think if you look at it from a multi-pronged approach, you'll find that you'll tap into different groups of people.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you so much, everyone,
and
for
for-
coming out, for being here today with us.
We
And
appreciate it.
we appreciate your time. John, did you have a question? I know you just unmuted.
Oh, I don't know if I don't know if it's really a question. I was hoping you're going to say that this recording would be available to us because the information was pretty fast and furious in my opinion.
Yeah, I can, if I can figure out how to do it, I will definitely share the recording. If everyone's interested, I can send that via email. Depending on the capabilities of my Zoom account, I might have to do it like through Google Drive or something. That's the way I've done it before. So I will try to send it out in a regular email, but if it doesn't work, if I might have to figure out a workaround.
Well, I've been using WeTransfer a lot.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about that later, John. If I haven't figured out how to do it, we can chat about how to.
Pollute your drive with something.
Okay, all right. Yes, I would be happy to send the recording out.
By the way, I still don't believe that Jim is a real person. He's just a picture.
Steve knows.
He is.
Well, again, thank you, everybody.
right,
for
guys.
coming.
Thank you.
And if you have
Coming.
any other
Steve.
questions, you know how to reach us. And if there's, you know, definitely everybody should be connecting too on LinkedIn with each other. If you, and you know, growing our own networks is also a great
Jim,
thing.
do you want to tell them how to save the chat if they don't know how to do that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. If you don't know how to save the chat, you can click the three dots in the bottom right corner of the chat box and
Here's
click
somebody's,
save chat.
screen.
I did let everybody, and while we were doing the presentation, I kind of closed it, but if you wanted to put your information in the chat now for everybody, that so that you can all connect with each other, you can, you know, feel free to do that now. So I'll leave it open if you want to do that. Because, you know, also doing these wonderful webinars, it's great to expand your own networks by the people that come on. So feel free to put your information there. And the other way to save the chat is to click anywhere in the window. I have a PC, so if you right click the mouse, you can click select all, right click again, click copy, and then go into like Word or even just an email, an empty email, and paste the information into there. So good idea. Everybody put their information in. Krista, where are you located?
I'm on Long Island, New York.
Oh, okay. So
Where?
Gina, yeah.
Where on Long Island?
Oh, are you from here or?
Jericho.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Huntington.
Nice.
Yeah.
Drew, where are you?
I'm in northern New Jersey, Bergen County.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Where in Bergen County?
The town is Hohokus, but near Ridgewood, Paramus, that area.
Hohokus.
Yeah, I
I think
used
my
to-
parents went to a restaurant in Hohokus.
Hohokus Inn, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
I used to shop at the Paramus Mall and the Short Hills Mall when I lived in New York City, so I could save on taxes.
There you go. A lot of people do that. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Steve, where are you located?
Just north of Tampa.
Oh, you're in Florida also.
Yeah,
Gina's
but
in New
tomorrow-
Jersey.
Steve has
John's
moved
in New
around
Jersey.
quite a bit. When I first met Steve back in 1983, I think it was, he lived in Washington, D.C.
Someone
Editor,
has the news on or something behind them? Someone has the news on?
Oh, that's Steve's got some kind of television on or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording.
And then he moved
now.
to